Number 5. Today's the 21st. The 21st of August. And it's 38, maybe 39 degrees. We have a heat warning. And I've just crossed, I'm heading to the Connemara. I've just crossed the part where the paraponts land. So I'm just walking along that path, you know, in the shade a bit here with the trees, just to try and get away from the sun for a bit. It's about 4:30 on the 21st. 4:30 flows in Marval. At 6 o'clock I have an appointment with my psychiatrist, Pamela King. I've been rehearsing for weeks on what I'm going to try and tell her. I have this sense that it's only going to be an hour, and I want to try and make some sense of the hour, not sense of the hour, some use of the hour. Because I thought it'd be so easy just blabber on about myself, which I know is kind of the nature of psychiatry, but I really want to give this woman something to work with. I want to tell her that I feel I'm kind of at the end of the line in terms of my marriage, that I'm in a transitionary period, I'm scared of the future, I may have certain psychological ailments. What does she suggest? Should I keep seeing her, or should I find out more about the social anxiety disorder, things like that? Anyway, I want to be precise, so that it's not just me rattling on and she's not going to say a word, and then at the end, like the last time, you know. Because I get the feeling with some of these people, they say, well, we're just paid to listen, and basically that's all they do. I mean, that is it, they listen. Which to me is, it's nice to talk to a stranger, but if you're not going to offer any help at all, then it's kind of a waste of money, because I can talk to myself all I want. But anyway, that's happening today. She was recommended by Stephen Katz, and we were actually meant to go and visit her, but Flo preferred to go to Marval, and I suggested if we could do a phone, I don't know what it's called, a Skype. Just before I left, I spent an hour or so going through lots of old photographs. And it's funny to see all the different little chapters in your life in front of you. And also the strange little bit of memory residue that gets released from some of the photographs, you know. You get a tiny little bit of something from that time that you were looking for. Like in all the Bowie ones, I'm posing and I'm trying to look like Bowie, and you know, so it triggers where I was in my mind a little bit when I see them. And then the earlier ones, and you know, St. Stephen's Road with Brendan Doyle and Kieran Egan, it triggers a little bit of where I was in my mind then. Getting up in the morning a little later than everybody, going to the shower, even though the shower was being fitted, or there was a lot of wood around, nothing was kind of complete. Just memories you'd kind of forgotten about. And it is, I guess, it's a little bit nice to realize just that you did have some kind of a scope to your life, that there are chapters You know, I didn't start working somewhere in 87 and then I'm not still there. I didn't start renting a house out somewhere in Carlow and I'm not still there. God knows what would have happened if I stayed in Carlow. I may well be married with 4 kids by now. Who knows? Or dead. But I was saying it is kind of nice to see all the different parts and say, well, at least you know, you did a little more than some. I don't know what more to say about that. I don't get tired watching photographs. I always find something in the background that interests me. And there's always this obsession with trying to get some kind of a memory or a grip on the good times of being a 12-year-old living in 7 Springfield Drive, because there was plenty. Someone's coming toward me, so I'm gonna pause. Yeah, that's the guy. That reminded me of me when I was about 25. Reminded me of the me that Flo took all these pictures in the garden of Argyle Road, where I'm wearing her sunglasses and I'm slightly made up. Just past the guy who had that kind of time period look. I mean, he looked like he was that age. Lots of stuff and lots of things that happened. The great adventure with alcohol. Maybe I'm a different person. I guess I have to be. But in another way, it's kind of strange that I'm exactly the same. I'm still walking around wondering what I'm going to be doing when this job ends, you know? Wondering how the hell am I going to get another one? I'm still in this kind of slightly, because the same thing happened with Claudia and with Shawnee, think of it. And that is when I'm in a relationship and the girl in the relationship gets tired of me in time. They get fed up, they have some different expectation of what I am, and they're ultimately disappointed and they want to move on. It's being the story, really, and it's happening again with Flo, understandably. I'm going to say all this to Pamela, and in as honest a way as I can, because I know I was saying to myself, there is no good guys or bad guys. It's just the way things have turned out over time. Flo didn't want to end up with someone that was going to be dependent on her, and she didn't want to end up in a creperie for 14 years. It's just the way it's happened, and unfortunately I'm largely responsible for things going that way, because all these things were done in my interest. If she had to do it all again, I'm pretty sure she would have stuck to her first decision that she made after a few weeks and said, I don't think you're the right person for me, and she would have split. She made the mistake of coming back. Yeah. Where does the story go? Just an off-the-cuff thought. I just thought, I have no pictures in physical form over the last 10 years or so. You know, everything is on the phone or storage device. And it's kind of a shame. It'd be nice to have a couple of hundred photographs of going all the way up to modern times, so you could just have the same experience looking at photographs. I know I have some from me and Flo at the beginning. But it'd be nice to be flicking through photographs and just see the change in yourself as you're going through year by year by year. What else has happened? All these things are kind of boring. But somehow there's a continuation about them. I like a continuity. So I'm filled out one application form to a temping agency. And they called me and said they were going to send the information on, but they never called back. I've managed to book my own IRM scan, and I'm going to see Merite and have the scan in October. I'm going off to Malaga with Martine and my mother and John in the end of next month, September. Flows off to India for a month at the end of this year, and I haven't really decided what I'm doing. There's this talk of going home for Christmas week, but I don't know. If Tuco is gone tomorrow and I'm on my own for the whole month, maybe it would be the perfect opportunity to just take the decent Clio, the bigger one, and just hit the fucking road, just go. Take all the cash with me. Don't know if that's a good idea or a stupid idea. Anyway, that's one of the things coming. I'll probably end up going home for Christmas. Haven't been there for a few years. Sorry about the coughing. It's been stuck in my throat. (2023). I got photographs from 1983, 93. Pretty sure I got one from 73. All the different decades. It's funny the far back you go. As a 10-year-old, let's say. That person who, when we came back from Dalsey and Mog's house, my mother and Dad were away on holiday, and I listened to some music on the old record player, the old blue one. Jeff loved the Magnificent Seven and stuff like that. And the house was empty, but so big, because we were coming from Staplestown Road. The house seemed huge, of course, because I was small as well. I saw pictures of those houses recently, and I was amazed at how small they look now. But anyway, back then, maybe 1970, could have been 78, 77. My God, as an 11-year-old, maybe a 10-year-old, I distinctly remember sitting in their one of their rooms where they had all their ornaments, front room, and they had these yellow kind of chairs, and I was just thinking how long it was, and I couldn't wait till we were going back, and I was thinking, oh, it's so many days left. And again, there's a residue of myself there. I can feel my thoughts, the problem of the moment. They're not coming back for 5 more days. You've got to find something to do for 5 days. It's kind of like that. And when we walked home to our house one time, I wanted to stay there, but of course they weren't going to let a 10-year-old stay on his own. And the distance between our house and Staplestown Road seemed a long, long way back then for me. It was like, would I remember how to get back? Would I remember the way? Because it's a long way. It's half an hour away. It's literally half an hour walk. It's just down the road. But again, back then, it seemed a long way away. And I had no connection with Bowie or Elvis Costello or anything at that point. It was really just the 5 or 6 LPs we had at home. And the world was, well, it revolved around those LPs, and I guess school, and in the holidays it revolved around looking forward to certain things on TV and playing with objects like soldiers and action figures. Getting the television programs and hoping that the Magnificent Seven or something would turn up on a Friday. That was the world, you know. That was as big as it was in my mind. There was no awareness of so many things. No awareness of the world, no awareness of news programs, no awareness of Nixon or Kennedy, or no awareness of the Irish Rebellion, the Irish Republic, Northern Ireland. No awareness of sex, no awareness of girlfriends. I may have had a crush at the time though, but it was one of those crushes which you only have once as a kid, and it's probably the most blessed of crushes, is when you just want to be with someone and you're so happy to be in their space, you don't even have to talk to them. It's like ultimate in its purity. But imagine existing in a world where you're not thinking about anything. Literally 99% of the stuff I think about now would not have been anywhere in sight back then. I'm in the depot, just walking under the grain machine and getting close to the destination. 18 minutes. Yet I had to go through the full day back then, just like now. My mind was active. I was thinking of things. Very different toward now. I was afraid of stuff, but it wouldn't have been like now. There wouldn't have been any awareness of the evils of the world, no awareness of serial killers, no awareness of what can happen to 10-year-olds. Physically and sexually, absolutely no awareness whatsoever. I'm actually blessed that I was brought up in a family that is the case. I'm blessed that I was really all the way up into my teens and still incredibly innocent. I'm blessed that my family somehow managed to shield all that stuff from me for as long as possible. Of course, there wasn't any 4 channels back then. But it wasn't much more into my adult life that I realized all the terrible things that are possible and that do happen. Back then, there was none of that. Anyway, it must be nearly 5 o'clock. I'm gonna practice some more dialogue when I get to the Connemara, and then go through this session. I'm not at all sure what this woman can possibly say to actually help, or even to make me want to pay for her time. She's gonna have to say something extraordinary. Anyway, I guess I'll stop. It's life on this very hot Monday, 21st of July, 2023. Goodbye.